In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how you can use pedal tones to create awesome neo-soul chord progressions that sound like this. How's it going? Dave here. My channel's all about helping you create awesome neo-soul and R&B sounds on your guitar. So if that sounds like your kind of thing and you're new here, make sure you click that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you're notified every single time I release a new video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about pedal tone progressions. What made that chord progression that you just heard work was a pedal tone. So a pedal tone is simply just a note that stays constant throughout your chord progression. And it's usually either done at the top or the bottom of the chord. So in this case, I went for the pedal tone being the top of the chord. So let's just take a look at the chord progression and then I'll explain things in a bit more detail. I'll also be showing you a cool exercise that you can do to get better at this and also how to solo over a pedal tone chord progression. So stick around for that. So the chord progression was this. So we played a B major 7, then an A13 chord, then a D7 chord, and then a C sharp sus 4. Then we move back to our B major 7. Then we're playing an A sharp minor 7 flat 13. That's a mouthful. Then we're playing an A13 again. And then we're playing a strange voicing of a G sharp 7. So what I did there was make sure this 7th fret of the B string, which is an F sharp, I made sure that note was at the top of every single chord. And that is the only thing these chords have in common. They're not part of the same key. They technically, in terms of music theory, shouldn't work together, but they do. And this is the cool thing with neo-soul. You don't need to follow the conventional music theory rules. All you got to do is make sure you create the right vibe. That being said though, I did kind of make sure I had a kind of home bass. So I made sure I started on this B major 7. And I made sure I always came back to this B major 7. And this B major 7 is something we can always come back to if we kind of lose our way, I guess. So it really is as simple as that. All we've got to do is just play whatever chords kind of fit the vibe that you're trying to put across, but just make sure they all have that note at the top. So there's loads of different options. Okay, and a cool exercise you can do to get better at working out what sort of options you have is this. So what we're going to do is we're going to maintain this F sharp as the top note. This is the 7th fret. And we're going to play a chord that contains every single possible root note, starting on A. You can follow along with me, but then I want you to try it with another pedal tone and see how you get on. Let's start off with A as the root note. And of course, we're keeping F sharp in the top of the chord. So a chord we could do is one that I used in the chord progression in A13. There we go. Now we can move to A sharp in the bass. So let's do I don't want to copy the same chords that I used before. So let's use a different one. Let's use an A sharp 7 sharp 5. There we go. There we go. Now we can move B to the bass and we can play maybe a B minor 7. Again, just making sure that F sharp's on the top. Then if we move to C, we could maybe play a C major 7 sharp 11. And I'm just working these chords out on the spot from what I know. So it's important to learn lots of different chord shapes. Okay, so then we're moving to C sharp in the bass, and we could play a C sharp 11 here, or a D flat 11. Okay, so then we move to D, we could play a D7. Pretty simple. Then we've got to play D sharp in the bass, so we could play a D sharp half diminished chord. Then we need E in the bass, so we could play an E major 9, an E minor 9, both work. Then we've got F in the bass, so we could play an F7 flat 9 here. F sharp in the bass, we could play an F sharp augmented chord. Or we could even play an F sharp major or G flat major, whatever you want to call it. There we go. Then we've got G in the bass, so we could play a G major 7. And then we've got G sharp in the bass. I'm going to move back down here and we can obviously play our G sharp 7 like we did in the song. I'm wondering if there's another chord that we could possibly do that I actually know. You know what? I'm just going to stick with this G sharp 7 and cheat a little bit. There we go. That's a cool exercise you can do to help you with pedal tone progressions, and then you can just pick some of them and create your own chord progressions. So maybe I could choose C sharp 11, this E flat minor 7, or D sharp minor 7, E major 7, or E major 9 I mean. And I'm just doing these on the spot, by the way. And then G major 7, let's try that. Okay, let's not do them in that order. Let's start with D sharp minor 7, then move to G major 7, then E major 9, and then C sharp 11. Okay. There we go. So that wasn't the best example in the world. I was just coming up with it on the spot, but it didn't sound too bad, did it? And I'm sure if you played it with some groove, then you could probably make it even sound better. And if you experimented with the chords a bit more as well, you can make it sound a little bit better. Let's talk about how to solo over this type of chord progression. So theoretically, this shouldn't work. But again, neosoul breaks the rules in a lot of ways. So over this chord progression, we used at the start. I said our home base was kind of B major. So I decided to use the B major pentatonic scale and then sneaking some extra notes in there, but mostly just played the B major pentatonic scale over this entire chord progression. And again, it technically shouldn't work, but it just did. Something to pay attention to is the chords underneath were played very kind of like staccato and very, we weren't ringing the chords out. If we were ringing the chords out, probably wouldn't work, but because we're just going, because we've got that kind of vibe going on, we can solo over the top and it won't clash too much. So take a listen to an improvisation that I've done. So there you go. Very, very simple. All we're doing is just playing pretty much random chords until we get the vibe that we want, but just making sure that we have the same note in the bass each time. And it really, really sounds quite cool. And then, of course, to solo over the top, we choose kind of a home bass and just bass it around that key, even though all the other chords are not really in that key, and it still works really well. So if you enjoyed the video, click like, let me know what you thought in the comments, and subscribe to my channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell as well so that you're notified every single time I release a new video. And if you want some more of these interesting neo-soul concepts, then make sure you check out this video here, because that's going to give you loads more things to experiment with, and you're going to have a load of fun with it. So I'll see you there. Have a good one.